can taste your words. I can taste your.
Welcome to the Easy Answer Podcast. I'm Brandy, plant-based chef.
And I'm Vonanise, plant-based adjacent.
On this podcast, we explore thought-provoking conversations around food
and simple ways to stay healthy in this crazy world.
Hey, Vaughn.
Hey, Brandy, how you doing?
Doing good. How about yourself?
I am excellent. Excellent.
Yes. So you hear about these people trying to cancel Phylicia Rashad?
Yes, and they're from my alma mater, Howard University, HU. So when Bill Cosby was released from jail, he sent a tweet that said that a miscarriage of justice has finally been overturned. And so a lot of the students felt like she should, but then she apologized and said that she supports all the victims. She supports the victims of domestic violence, domestic abuse, right?
And the school is making her take sensitivity training.
I mean, that's fine. But me as an alum, we're not going to name the year. I was on a group of alums. We said that they need to leave her alone because one of the girls said Auntie Phylicia is 75 years old, or not 75, but she's, the baby boomer generation. And I think that people are allowed to have the experience with the person that they've had. And if she's only had a positive experience with Bill Cosby, and if he's only been someone who's championed her in her career, helped her move to the mainstream, and basically moved her from a Broadway actress to a television actress, I think we should give her grace and allow her to have the experience that she had with him and to not believe the accusations. I believe them. I believe them because the deposition. You understand? He got off on a technicality. He served 3 years in jail. I think that we should all just let this rest. And the fact that she had a different experience with him doesn't mean that she shouldn't be the dean of fine arts. And the caveat to this is that Phylicia Rashad was one of Chadwick Boseman's mentors, as he said. He was in a school of fine arts. And if you guys won't know this, but Chadwick Boseman went to Howard and I went to Howard, as I mentioned, right?
What school did you go to again, I can never remember. You never say it where you went, so I can never remember.
I know, us Howard people, we're so obnoxious. I mean, it's just so annoying. Like Brooklyn people, right? Brooklyn, that's how we are about Howard, okay? And so what happened was, when a while ago, they merged the School of Fine Arts into another school. And so they merged it, so there was no longer the School of Fine Arts. And Chadwick Boseman was one of the people who was protesting for them not to do that. And now that he's passed away, they now have made it again the School of Fine Arts, and Phylicia Rashad is the dean. And she was also his mentor because she helped him get a prestigious internship in London. So it's it's a full circle moment. And so the alum, we're just let it go. Let it go. She's allowed to have another opinion. I do think she might need sensitivity training because, she's, what is she, a baby boomer? And we're dealing with, what are they, Generation X or Z? Who are those, the group that are in college now? They're more sensitive.
Yeah, they're Z. And they might be past Z. They might be after, I don't even know. They might be post Z.
Yeah, and so, in her generation, men did what they did, and you just, you just brushed it off. In this generation, they're we are not having it. They're labeling everything. It's inappropriate. And I'm not saying that it's wrong. Okay, I feel like men should not have been able to have carte blanche. What Bill Cosby did was wrong. What he admitted to doing was wrong. You understand? However, when Bill Cosby was young, and when he was in these streets, okay, when he was a starting comedian in the 70s and 80s, giving someone a quaalude to have sex with them was not considered rape. I think that it was wrong. By the definition of rape now, that's rape. All right. I think that it's wrong. I think that it was rape. But if you're going back to back then, the way that they thought, that was not considered rape. And in his peon brain, these people wanted to have sex with him. Whatever. But my thing, if you had to give them a quaalude, then they didn't want to have sex with you. You understand? We're not going to relitigate the case.
No, that's not really good. But I do want to bring up a conversation that I watched in part. I didn't finish it, but I definitely was interesting that Judge Joe Brown had with. I'm actually gonna look it up. I'll look it up after and put it in the show notes because it's really interesting. But his perspective on this was that if the women were in the room with him, then didn't they want to participate as well? Was it only the drug, or was it that the drug was part of the experience that we just kind of interjected to the experience when sex was had back in the day?
See, but the thing is that, okay, by the definition of rape now, if you have someone that's rape, you understand?
Yeah.
They expanded it, and I think that it was morally like, the fact that you have to give someone, like, remember they used to say, you slipped me a Mickey or you roofied me. It was like a part of pop culture that they used to talk about. And we now decided, like, I felt like that was morally wrong, but we now have put that under the caveat of rape. You understand? And I think that it should have been. And I think that just because I'm in the room with a man and maybe I have my top off, that if I'm allowed to change my mind. You understand? I'm allowed to decide that I don't want to have sex with them. But if you give me a drug now, you've taken that ability away for me to change my mind. People should be conscious when they have sex. I mean, I just like to have, when I have my sex, I like to be conscious when I do it. Okay? So I don't know what these people are. But we're not really getting the point. Okay? We're saying that it's a generational thing. You understand? We're saying that baby boomer, my mother was like, that's what everyone was doing back then. Not that he wasn't wrong. Not that he wasn't bad. You understand? Your generation is just a little different than ours. Women have more rights. And, you know, we paved the way for y'all to have more rights. The Oprahs of the world talking about it paved the way for us to have more rights. And so now we're saying, like, no, it's not okay. And it's not cute for you to just slip me a Mickey. And I'm just supposed to just be down for whatever. I have a problem with that, you know? And so I think that we should just offer her grace because she's from a different generation. And I think
that, like, in addition to the generation thing, that's one thing, because that different generation thing, I mean, in that situation, the Paula Deen situation would be okay. I don't think that's necessarily okay. I don't know if that's the strongest argument, right? I think for me, they have a friendship. Like, these are like, yeah, we know them as celebrities, and we know, like, you talked about the career benefits that Bill Cosby offered to Phylicia Rashad. That's one thing, but they're friends too. You understand? Like, we have to put that into consideration. There's this weird thing that, I don't know, the internet, this generation is how they think about, like, the internet, how they have control over everything, and how we're supposed to, I don't know,
regulate our friends, regulate our families.
Like, be honest, authentic, but at the same time not offend anybody. I don't even know how you pull that off, because you cannot. And like you said, the grace is a perfect word for at least how I feel this generation, like how we respond to people not being perfect, because that's really what it comes down to. What they're asking for is us to be able to, I don't know, if a person doesn't hit all of the boxes of, I don't know, non-offensiveness, non-exclusiveness, well, I mean, all this stuff, then we gotta cancel them. We gotta write them off. They need to be.
Listen, I'm a Me Too person. Like, I think that, you understand, like, I'm very extreme and very biased. Like, I am. Like, I'm not even going to pretend like I'm not. You understand? I'm very biased when it comes to the situation. Brandy and I have spoken extensively about my bias, okay? However, I think that in this case, you just have to, people are allowed to have the relationship with the person that they have. That's like asking his wife to now say, like, she's canceling him, or his children. Like, they don't know that side of people. Like, it really goes back to, you never really know a person. You never really know all sides of a person. You know, he obviously never showed her this side of him. You know, she, in her mind, he's a stand-up guy. He's a great guy, and someone wronged her friend. And I think that if you understand it from that perspective, like, you never had a friend that went to jail because they stole something. You never had a friend that maybe, you know, like, a friend of mine, her husband went to jail for, you know, securities fraud. I'm still cool with her. I'm still cool with him. You understand? That's what happened. You understand? There's different. I think that you have to offer people grace.
Yeah, and I think this is a perfect lead-in to bring in our guest today, Rashida, as we talk about how people can have multiple sides. And does it mean that we throw out the baby with the bathwater, so to say, just because somebody didn't show up? I don't know. All of the sides don't look exactly the same. So we want to have this conversation because we're talking about Phylicia Rashad, but what sparked this conversation was Bill Cosby. So we're going to bring her into the conversation to kind of explore this concept. Is Bill Cosby, like, should his whole legacy be thrown away just because of this situation? Hey, Rashida, welcome to the Easy Answer podcast.
Hello.
Hey, Brandy. Hey, Vaughn. How are you?
We're doing good. Before we get started, we want you to introduce yourself. Tell us who you are, what do you do, all that good stuff before we jump into the conversation.
All right. Well, I'm Rashida Serrant-Davis, founder originally of Really Nourish, is how Brandy and I met. I was a food activist and a plant-based. I'm plant-powered, so just promoting that whole side of things from a personal story and a personal journey that I took. I recently pivoted into education, so I am now a learning coach for kids who do virtual learning. That's a space I had to come into quickly. I'm a coder, and I help women mostly, but people in general, access, enroll in, and complete online courses by trying to open up the field to more people. And I'm based in Trinidad and Tobago.
Wow, that sounds like I'm gonna book a ticket and have someone to see soon.
The border's opening up very shortly, so that's good news.
Good thing I'm vaccinated, right?
And where are you joining us from?
Come through. I'm in Sandy Grande, which is about an hour east of the capital port of Spain.
Nice. Cool.
Okay, great.
Sweet. Cool. So,
I'm in the country.
Yeah, we knew what you meant. Cool. So before we brought you into the conversation, we talked, about Phylicia Rashad. I know you heard a little bit of that. So what are your thoughts around Bill Cosby and this, who he is, what he did, and his contribution to society? Should we get rid of that because of this conviction?
Yes, see that, I grew up in the 1980s. I was born in the late 70s. So what I know about, I didn't see, I don't know what the movie's called, Uptown Saturday Night. I can't remember when he's running around and he's like a gangster or a pimp or something in the 70s. I didn't see that until my late 20s. When I was a kid, Bill Cosby was on Electric Company teaching me how to read. And then after that, the Cosby Show showed me what was possible for me. And then after that, A Different World showed me, well, I could go to college. And so I didn't go to an HSBU, what is it called? I didn't go to a historically Black college or university, but go Brooklyn though. But go Brooklyn. I grew up in Brooklyn. So, but I mean, that shaped that just, and I know I'm one of millions of people who can say that shaped my perspective on what was possible for me in my future. There wasn't much before that. There wasn't much during that time else other than that to show me on TV every Thursday night at 8 o'clock and 8:30, just this family, they're married. All the kids are from inside the marriage. 4 of them went off to college. I mean, there was no adultery. There was no, they were just having a life. They were wealthy, they were going to, just showed me the possibilities. I mean, so what really upset me was after all this went down, they took, you couldn't find a Cosby Show episode anywhere. You couldn't find a Different World episode anywhere. Things I wanted to show my kids. My small child, my oldest child, I should say, she's 13 now. So before that point of all this whole case, she and I used to find Cosby Show episodes on YouTube. And I'm kind of trying to share that, throw out that important work. It just kind of echoes what everyone, a lot of people were saying, was that I'm not, and there's what he did was wrong. I'm with you, Vaughn. Whether the drugs part of it was not considered rape or not, whether the law had it enshrined yet or not at that time, it was wrong. But maybe he was used as some kind of example, or he was just, was targeted. That's possible too. Because look what it has done to the integrity of his work. And that work was important in shaping Black perspectives in America.
However, Bill Cosby, okay, so I will say this. I went to Howard University because Hillman Howard, okay? I love the Cosby Show. However,
right.
Bill Cosby the side effect to Black people before that, when he gave speeches and he was being very disparaging on the way that he spoke about people who choices than him, people who, I don't agree with people who want to be pimps and, whatever, I don't agree with that lifestyle. However, I don't speak down to other Black people who didn't have a mother who loved them as much as they loved me, or a family unit the way that I did. You understand? And so therefore, he was always questionable, because you do not speak down to people in your group. He always separated himself from Black people. All right. He was like, y'all is over there and I'm over here. Okay. He always had that mindset. All right.
Did he have a pull your pants up tour at some point?
Yeah, like a pull your pants up tour. Okay. I'm not like people. My family not like these people. These are N-words, and this is who I am. So that was always unacceptable. All right. And two, I feel like I don't think people targeted Bill Cosby. I think that it was sad that it took almost 60 women to come out in order for Bill Cosby to even be put on trial, And I just felt like, why does it always take so many women? Why does freedom for Black people always have to be bought on the backs of Black women, or for women in general? That I had a problem with that. You understand? However, I don't personally, we're not going to relitigate the case. All right. This is about Phylicia Rashad. Okay. The Bill Cosby Show, I could not look at it because the hypocrisy. All right. You're doing this woman.
It's art. I'm gonna be like, okay, I hate hypocrisy. This is what we're talking about. Can we separate the art from the person? Yes, Bill Cosby may have been doing this in the back, between the tapings of the Cosby Show, right? At the end of the day. But on the Cosby Show, he was playing a character that told a story that helped to shape the viewpoints of Black people and made them see things differently. Before, you know what I mean? So it's like,
yes,
it's the acting.
That's true. But like my mother said, this is why we shouldn't let men run stuff. Because every time men run stuff, we always got to go through this. Women should start running more stuff. Okay? Woody Allen, Bill Cosby, I love all of their art. I love the art that they participated in. I was like, Michael Jackson, the R. Kelly, the list goes on and on. Men. All right. And the thing they all have in common is their penis. Okay. So I think that will be the downfall of men. That's why women need to run more stuff.
Yeah, but let's be real. We talk about humanity. We need them
I agree there.
Sustain it. So, we can't really get rid of them all.
Yes, we need men. They're wonderful, however, If you look at those cases, now I'm looking at Hannah and her sister side eye. You understand? I'm looking at the Cosby Show. I can't have a regular viewer. I'm looking at Pulp Fiction different because, you know, Harvey Weinstein was the producer. This is the thing. And because of Bill Cosby, because of all these people, we have to separate their art from their work. You understand? Name a woman where we have to separate hers. You know, there's not very many.
I mean, we haven't. You know me. We haven't done the research. We yeah.
You know, I don't have to separate Janet Jackson's art from her work. You know, Beyonce's, like the list goes on and on.
Independent. Some people say, you know, Janet showed her boob. I mean, Justin Timberlake was the one that made her show her boob. But some people, you know, some people canceled. I mean, before there was pre-cancel culture, but she may have been canceled because of that. Had cancel culture.
You see how what Bill Cosby done has now filtered into a black woman. She made one comment, and now they're coming down harder on her, where they're just like, oh, well, now she doesn't deserve to be the dean of fine arts. It's like, really? You understand? For one thing that she said, she doesn't deserve to be the dean of fine arts. You understand? And it's just like, I feel like cancel culture is much harder on women when women make a mistake, when women do something, and then women go out and defend the men who make mistakes.
We, you know me. We gotta give examples for that one. That's a strong statement. Cancel culture.
Gayle King. All right.
Say it again.
Gayle King. Remember what happened? Remember when Gayle King
asked
the question, and she asked the question, and then Snoop Dogg, and they sent the tweet, and all these people were saying, like, you know, they were being very mean in the way that they were talking and speaking about her, because she asked a question as a journalist. And I know I've said this before, I have a degree in journalism from Howard University, and part of that training means you ask.
Well, I thought she went to Morgan and studied. I'm so happy that you did that.
Go Brooklyn.
Okay, but
Rashida,
oh my goodness.
any response to the conversation that we've been having?
Oh gosh, it's so complex. I mean, you know, Phylicia Rashad too. I mean, just from where I come, like just I just hold them in such high regard. It's so hard for me. I can cancel Bill. I cannot cancel the Cosby Show. I cannot cancel A Different World, and I can't cancel Electric Company. I can't cancel them. Sorry. They were part of my formative years. They were part of making me who I am today. So I can't cancel them. I can cancel Bill. And then Phylicia Rashad will never be canceled. She is who I wanted to be when I grew up, and I am still shooting for that. She was so gorgeous. She was just so stylish. She was a great mom. She was fabulous. You know what? And I agree with Vaughn. Like, let her have a perspective. You know, I mean, let Auntie have a perspective. You know, as her friend, if she wants to say what she wants. I don't see why they have to strip her of a title because of that. I think that's really taking it too far.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's true. And I just sometimes I just feel like I don't know. It does black women.
I definitely want to look into that. I'm not against. I don't. It's not that I don't believe that's the case.
We do.
I just. I think we haven't. It's just a cancel culture statement. That's what I want to look into. I don't know.
I'm just like, remember that girl Jordan Woods when she like Jordan Woods and Chloe and the Travis and you know
I'm probably just a bad person because I don't even know who these people are.
Okay, so she supposedly kissed.
Oh, I thought it was just me.
Yeah, she supposedly kissed Khloe Kardashian at a party, and then Jada Pinkett brought her on Red Table Talk to talk about it. And she said, and she spoke to her, she said, like, they are so much harder on us Black women than they are on anyone else. And I felt like she's absolutely right. You know, like when she said that at Red Table Talk, I was like, that's true. You know, like Black women almost have to be perfect. That's why the Cosby Show was the way it was, because it was just like they needed to be perfect, you know, because you know, like the way that people treated Michelle Obama. She wore a pair of shorts at the end of the world. You know, Melania Trump, she was in Playboy, you know, and it was okay, you know. And I just feel like, you know, that's what I'm saying. It's just very hard on Black women.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Yeah. I mean, yeah. This is like this is just a very, like we say, complex.
Yeah.
I like,
You know?
yeah.
I mean, how many times do you have to say now? If it was a white girl, you know, people would have looked at it differently. You have to say that a lot. If it was a white girl, now, if a white girl had done that, now, if a white girl had said that, now, if a white girl had worn that, we find ourselves saying that for a long time. It's true.
I mean, it's kind of like cornrows, right? It's kind of like, you know, white girls get cornrows. They have new style. Black girls get cornrows. It's like, it's the ghetto style. Like you just got out of jail. It's like, it's really interesting how the narrative changes.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I think that, you know,
but that was the conversation around the Bill Cosby case too, wasn't it?
Because wasn't it the Harvey Weinstein treatment versus the Bill Cosby treatment? Because that happened around the same time, at least as far as my memory.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like they got
there was a lot of talk about the difference.
I remember that talk. I don't remember the details though.
I mean, but honestly, I felt like they got treated equally as bad. Like everyone in the industry sort of like said like no one's working with Harvey Weinstein anymore. But this is the thing with Harvey Weinstein. It was Harvey Weinstein and Bill Cosby. It was like not a secret to the people who were in the entertainment industry. They were like, we all knew that like Bill Cosby was kind of an a-hole and that Harvey Weinstein was a terrorist. Like we all knew this about these people. However, their work was so wonderful, you know? And so there were people around them who enabled them, you know, who enabled the Bill Cosbys of the world, who enabled the Harvey Weinsteins, you know, who enabled the artists of the world because you can't even read, okay? So there are people around them who prop these people because it's in their benefit for these people to still make art, you know? And that's what we really need to, the fact that women are so disposable. That's what I'm saying to you. Women and our needs and wants and feelings are disposable. That's what that industry sends a message to. It sends a message to women. And it wasn't just Black women. It wasn't just white women. It was any woman that came in those men's pathway. They were disposable. You know, unless you were attached to a man who was protecting you. That's why Nicole Kidman said, I never really had that experience because she was married to Tom Cruise the whole time, which was unfortunate. You know? And that's why the girls at Howard University are like, no, we're speaking up. We want to say this. And I understand. I, you know, feel for my little sisters at Howard University, but I'm just saying, like, no, we're not going to cancel Phylicia Rashad. You know, like we're not canceling Phylicia
and go
Rashad.
Brooklyn.
And she probably does need sensitivity training.
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe. So listen, this is the easy answer.
But are you going to ask? She's what? You said 75? Really?
But she's
Yeah,
never been. She's never been the dean of a and had a staff of people under her like that. You understand? And the dean has to make a lot of decisions, so she's gonna need training. You understand? She's an actress. She's gonna need training. That's an academic position.
That's a tough one.
You know?
Yes.
Cool. Oh yeah. All right, guys. So guess what? This is the first Easy Answer podcast where we not talk about food, and we cannot let that be the case. So what we're going to do to close this out is remind you that Bill Cosby also had a pudding commercial.
Jello.
Jello. Yeah. Now we got food in conversation because what does the Easy Answer podcast do? The Easy Answer podcast has thought-provoking conversations around foods and how food and help you to stay well simply. So guys, we are going to close out this conversation and we're going to bring Rashida back and actually have a whole conversation about food to make up for this episode that only only had the conversation at the very end for a little moment. So thanks again for joining us for the Easy Answer podcast. Time.
It's a
Keep it
podcast.
easy.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks.